Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Follow the Drain, the story of biosolids in Waterloo region. Thanks for joining us. As you can see on the screen, we've held 2 sessions of this webinar, and the content in both has been the same, but we set up 2 separate times to accommodate people with varied schedules. Before we get started, a few things to note. This is a live webinar, so we have an opportunity to take your questions at the end of the presentation. If you think of anything you would like to ask as you listen to the presentation, please send it to us using the chat box in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Please note that if you've put your screen onto full screen mode, you will no longer be able to enter a chat question. For this session, the raise your hand function that you see in the top right part of your screen has been disabled. The webinar will run from 12 to 12:30, with the first half being presentation and the second half a question and answer period. If at any time you need to leave the presentation, don't worry. We are recording the session and will make it available on the project website for anyone who would like to view it. I'm Carla Coley, one of your hosts for this session, and we're coming to you from downtown Kitchener. In the room today, we have the project manager from the region of Waterloo, Karu Yajima, and the wastewater technical lead from our consultant team at Dillon Consultant, Mike Thompson. Karu and Mike will be available after the presentation to take your questions, so don't forget to send them in using the chat box. So let's get started. The purpose of today's presentation is to give everyone an overview of what biosolids are, how they're managed now, and the goals of the biosolids strategy. The presentation is divided into 4 parts. Part 1 is an explanation of what biosolids are. Part 2 is a description of the region's current biosolids processing and management approach. Part 3 reviews what laws and regulations the region currently follows for its biosolids program. And Part 4 is a quick summary of the biosolids strategy process and where we are in the process. We'll wrap up with some next steps and also tell you about various ways to get involved and provide input towards developing a strategy. Following that, we'll have a question and answer session where we will take your questions that you've sent in through the chat function on the bottom left of your screen. Before getting on with part 1 of the presentation, I will ask Karu to explain what the biosolids strategy is about. Karu.
Okay, thank you, Carla. And on behalf of the Region of Waterloo and the project team, I would like to thank those who have taken the time to log in and join us today. The trend of growth in the region of Waterloo is expected to continue over the next 2 decades. That means that the amount of wastewater and biosolids in the region we must manage is also going to grow. While it grows, we must recognize that regulations evolve, technologies advance, and new opportunities emerge. So, although we have a biosolids management system in place today, it is important that we also keep an eye on the future. That means developing a strategy for our biosolids that is robust, adaptable, and forward-thinking. This in turn helps provide a sustainable management approach that can be relied on over the long term. Okay, so Carla, in answering your question, this project is really about developing that strategy for our community.
Great, thanks, Karu. So let's get started with part 1. What exactly are biosolids? To walk you through this, I'm going to hand it over to Mike.
Thanks, Carla. Well, in order to answer that question of what biosolids are, let's talk about where biosolids come from. We all flush water down the drain, be it in the shower, the sink, the toilet, or when using a washing machine or dishwasher. This wastewater is transported through a series of underground pipes to a wastewater treatment plant. As you can imagine, the treatment plant is a vital piece of our public infrastructure that ensures we maintain a healthy and vibrant community. You would be correct if you thought that the plant cleans wastewater, but that's not the whole story. At the plant, there are actually 2 main types of treatment, which are called treatment trains. The liquid train cleans the water and collects the solids. The solids train does the work to generate biosolids. Let's quickly go over what a liquid train looks like first. Larger objects in the wastewater are collected using a screen. Sand and grit are also collected at the beginning. Primary treatment separates most of the remaining solids from the liquid in the wastewater. In primary treatment, the heavier solid matter settles to the bottom of the tank, and the cleaner water overflows the top and goes to secondary treatment, where it encounters the aeration process. In the aeration treatment tank, the dissolved material, mainly organics, is eaten up using microscopic bugs. Wastewater is their food, and air is fed into the process because the bugs need oxygen, just like us. The bugs and solid matter that is passed through primary treatment are given more time to settle in the secondary treatment process. The cleaner water overflows to disinfection and is returned to the environment. So that was the liquids train. Next, let's go over a typical solids train. The solids collected from primary and secondary treatment tanks enter the solids train. Although we call it the solids train, at this stage it's still a brown soupy mixture. We further treat this mixture through a process called digestion, where again we use the help of microscopic bugs to help eat up more organic material and reduce the volume of solids left behind. There are two types of digesters, one that works in the presence of air, called an aerobic digester, and one that works without any air, called an anaerobic digester. The region's smaller plants use aerobic digestion, while the larger plants use anaerobic digestion. In the region, most of the biosolids are processed using anaerobic digestion. The digested material, now called biosolids, is passed on to dewatering. There are a number of ways to dewater biosolids, but in the region, the mixture is spun fast enough to remove a lot of the remaining water through a process called a centrifuge. In summary, biosolids are the treated organic materials removed from our wastewater that are transported from wastewater treatment plants for use or disposal. Here's a picture of biosolids being loaded into a trailer after dewatering. The material is called cake and looks something like damp soil. Although moist, if you squeeze it, no water would drip out.